Smooth Operators is cool, and so far, Dragon has used it in a supportive role, so there are already a lot of examples that hint at how the power works. From what I can tell in Chapter 1, it looks like he controls the part of any surface that he touches, having it get dragged around by tiny robots on treads. We see him embed things in surfaces and move pieces around surfaces, so I think Smooth Operators is better with precision than force, but kind of a new diver down that's used in very clear and creative ways. When they're on heists, taking apart machines piece by piece and covering tracks would be a huge help, as long as the weak spots are covered by his teammates. Like Dragona himself being vulnerable, the physical contact he makes to use the power, and if the stand only moves one piece of an object at a time. Dragona's scratching might just be a habit and not necessary for his stand, but I think that the habit could be a front for his power, considering Smooth Operator's potential for heists, and what that might say about Dragona's fighting style. Stands are based on theme more than consistent mechanics, and what that reflects is the user's fighting style or how they achieve goals. In Jojoland, Toru committed meticulous and devastating actions behind the scenes, hence Wonder of You, and Joshu gave himself the motivation to solve problems by intentionally getting his screws loose. So we might be able to narrow down Dragona's personality by referencing previous stands that share traits with Smooth Operators. And one stand that feels similar to me is Rikiel's Sky High from Part 6, which is a wrist piece that controls heat-stealing bugs. The idea of a stand that has the user give orders to a group of agents who are good at collectively performing tasks with a single supernatural power reminds me of Sky High. And it seems they're used in similar ways, as if the user gives mechanical commands to a separated workforce to perform their power for them. Now, Rikiel was introduced as one of 3 villainous brothers, whose approaches to challenges, their fighting styles, all had major flaws. Versus blamed the world for his problems and held grudges against it to get by, which was why he was given Underworld, and Ungalo escaped his problems with drugs, which was why he had Bohemian Rhapsody. In Rikiel's case, he excessively relied on others, but from what we've seen, it's closer to the opposite for Dragona, who takes on complicated jobs under others to support who he cares about. And I think that's why his stand is the actual workforce instead of a device that gives the workers orders. If I'm right about this, then Dragona is much more similar to Jodio than he first seems. So even though Dragona seems more enthusiastic about stealing than Jodio, I think he's also troubled by their circumstances, and they deal with it in different ways. Consider this, Jodio claimed that they were both doing their unethical work to support their mom, and he only insults Paco for loving what they do, so there might be a reason he sees Dragona differently. But also, if Jodio's been doing this work since he was 11 and has the same motivation as Dragona, then I bet they started at around the same time, meaning Dragona would have been an early teenager. Some group might have taken advantage of his young age to force him down a path he hates. The power of Smooth Operators is to change the surface of something, and if the stand represents part of how Dragona deals with problems, then the power should too. So Jodio's upfront aggression would be the source of his violent power, and his feelings of helplessness are why it's so restricted, while Dragona covers up his feelings and robotically carries out any job he has to, giving him a surface-adjusting stand made of robotic task workers. But we'll have to see how he's shown in future chapters, cause anything can come out.